Hey everybody. So I know that you have all been anxiously awaiting, I suppose, my commentary about the election and everything that happened. So I wanted to take just like a couple of minutes and kind of round up my thoughts and let everybody kind of know where I was. For those of you who've watched, I haven't really posted anything on social media about it, just basically making fun of everyone else. But so here are my, I guess, final thoughts. Well, not final thoughts, first thoughts on the election. The first is that we were all completely wrong. I was wrong. Everybody was wrong, except for maybe Nate Silver, but that's because he shouldn't get it wrong because that's what he does for a living. But if anybody pays attention to the Anthem podcast, we made some predictions this week. That episode came out on Tuesday, and I was about as far off as somebody could be. And the polling was off. Everyone's polling was off. The only one who gave Trump any chance at all was Nate Silver, and it turns out that he was probably right. So that's kind of where we are. It's impossible in this climate to predict what might happen, and well, the beauty and the horror of our system is that it's majority rule, and the majority has spoken. And in 2008 and 2012, the majority spoke and said Barack Obama is our choice. And there were people who all along said, not my president, I'm not following him, this is not what I believe in, and that's fine, but majority rules. The two elections before that, well, the one election before that in 2004, it was George W. Bush who won the majority vote. And we have to say, hey, majority rules. It's the beauty and the horror of the system. Now, 2016 and 2000, both are examples of the wonder and the terror of our system, which is that we've created a system with an electoral college. That means that we don't directly elect anyone. We vote for electors, and those electors then choose the president. And on occasion, this will be, I believe, the fourth time in the history of our country, the popular vote did not match what the Electoral College said it would be. So it sucks, but that's the system that we've created. The big message that we should stick to is that starting today, we have 4 years until the next presidential election. We have 2 years until the next congressional election. And what we should really be asking ourselves is, what changes do we need to make as a society, as a voting public, to change things for those elections? I am a big proponent that you don't change the rules in the middle of a game. And unfortunately, I'm taking that from Trump. But yeah, you don't change the rules while the race is going on. The race is done. We've selected someone. So now we need to go about the work of making a better society. We need to look at what this election taught us, learn the lessons, and change things so that this doesn't happen again, or so that the system is more representative, depending, I suppose, on what your feelings about this election are. But going back to this election as a whole, my overall thought is this: it matters far less than people think that it does. The president has so little control. I am more terrified by the fact that a single party now has both the executive and both houses of the legislature under its control. That is a recipe for rubber stamping and for things getting out of control. Luckily, in 2 years, we'll have another election, and we'll be able to take out those members of Congress if they don't do what we want them to do. But in the end, no matter what, it's unfortunately a lot of meet the new boss, same as the old boss. In 2008, I was conservative about my thoughts on Barack Obama. I had hope. I believed and I wanted that there would be real change. And in 2012, I had totally been burned on that idea. We weren't getting the change that we were promised. Things weren't going to be any different than they had always been. And it's unfortunate. But the thing that we should learn from that, again, looking back into history and learning those lessons, is that sometimes it's all, well, not sometimes, it will always be meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Little things will change, policies will change, but in the end, the country as a whole is a machine moving forward, and changing the guy who's sitting in the pilot seat, they can only do so much, and usually it's not very much. So, I don't want people to go off the deep end about this. This is not really, unfortunately, not that really a big of a deal. But that being said, I am a white Anglo-Saxon. I was born Protestant. I was raised Protestant. I am was born middle class. I've worked my way up into, I suppose, upper middle class, arguably. And that means that I am the person who stands to benefit most from a Trump administration, if theoretically he can do all of the things that he says he wants to do, which, I don't believe will actually happen. That being said, I did not vote for Trump, and I don't stand behind the things that he believes. In the end, the people will always be the last bastion against tyranny, no matter what form that comes in. And I suppose this is my message coming out of the election. There are a lot of people just like me. There are a lot of people who stand nothing but to benefit from the policies that Donald Trump has claimed that he wants to put into place. Again, whether or not that actually happens. And we will not stand for the things that he is trying to implement, if he does try to implement them. So this is my promise to all of you, and I hope that there are other people who will stand behind it as well, that as long as I have breath in my body, there will be no tyranny in America. There will be no... we will not have Trump's America the way that he envisions it. I have friends who are LGBTQA. I have friends who are people of color. I have a lot of friends who are women. And I can't imagine the terror that they must be living in, thinking that Donald Trump is going to formulate this country into exactly what he said he wants to. Again, my initial response is that he can't. It just won't happen. My second response is there are thousands and hundreds of thousands of people just like me who will be standing on front lines, who offer someone to stand by you, someone to stand in front of you, to take the brunt of whatever may happen. Back in 2014, I disavowed the policy of sole nonviolence, and I don't believe that solely focusing on nonviolence is a way that we actually can make change. That once you take that card off the table, those who you are going up against will know that they can use whatever force against you that they want, and you won't respond in kind. And I don't think that that's a smart way to operate. So, should it ever come down to it, just know that there are many people like me who will defend to the death people who don't look like us, who don't think like us, and who don't argue like us, because the thing I love about this country so much is that I may not agree with you, but I will defend to the end of my life your ability to live your life as you see fit, to be who you are, and to say and think the things that you want. So, yeah, guys, we are in a period of uncertainty. Who knows what's going to happen over the next few weeks as we get ready for a Trump presidency. I think that the concerns are overblown. I think that the praise is overblown. And I think that we are just going to insert the new cog into the machine, and it's going to keep rolling forward. The bigger thing that we should focus on is this machine going the direction that we want it to go? Electing a new president, electing a new slate of congressmen and senators, that's not going to change the direction of the machine. We have to do something bigger than that in order to change that. There has to be real systematic change, and those parties can't be the ones who do it. We, the people, we are the only ones who can do that. So it's scary and it's uncertain, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad. Take faith, everyone. Things are going to be okay. And if they're not, there's always things that can be done. So don't go moving to Canada yet. I had somebody ask me earlier if I was going to move to Canada, and I said, first of all, just because I don't like Trump doesn't necessarily mean I support Clinton, because frankly I don't support Clinton either. And I'm not going to go running to another country, because that's not what we do. We have a system that is built so that we can change it if it doesn't suit our needs, and that is going to be my focus for the next 4 years, is creating what the founders called a more perfect union, and continuing to work on that. And that's what I'm going to ask that all of you do along with me. Like, let's get to work. We have 4 years to change this entire thing before we have to go through this whole process again. I mean, logically speaking, we have 2 years. before the presidential campaigns kick off again, and a year before they start in earnest with the primary process. So we have 3 years to 4 years to change everything. So it's a lot of work to do, but we can get it done. So let's focus on that. Let's not worry about the nameplate. Let's not worry about all the things that could happen. Let's take some calm and look over the process and say, hey, this is what is actually happening. Let's take it as it comes. We address issues as they arise. Overall, try to turn this ship back in the right direction, because I fear that no matter Trump presidency or Clinton presidency, there was very little hope that we were going to be heading in a direction that benefits the majority of people who unfortunately voted against their self-interest in this election. So let's get to work, guys. 2020 is but 4 short years away. So let's get some stuff done. Okay? Make sure you check out all my social media at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks, robertncheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog that has more ideas like this, some other stuff as well, including my books, which are available on Amazon. And funny enough, if anybody has read Foe, you're going to find that Chris Bishop, the main character of Foe, is surprisingly and strikingly like Donald Trump in his belief. And I won't ruin it for you, but check it out. I think you'll find it interesting. And then, of course, The Movement Insurrection is also available on Amazon, where essentially what I did was set up a scenario exactly like what we are experiencing now, and exactly what everybody fears. And if you're looking for some solace to say, what can we do? You're going to find a pretty good example right there in The Movement Insurrection. And The Movement Insurgency will be out by Christmas. It's the sequel to the first book, so check that out as well. Take heart, everyone. It's not as bad as you think it is. Just like if the reverse were true, it's not as good as you think it is. Things are going to continue to be right down the middle, because that's just how it works. All right? So take care, everybody, and I'll see you next time.